The land of Elsewhere, a world of mystery and magic, where nothing is quite as it seems, formed by the god of creation, Autumn, once long ago. Now most of the gods have turned their back on this land. Magic runs wild, and monsters of unfathomable terror stalk the night. Still, good will find a way to overturn evil, or at least that's what they say. Only the sands of time will tell. Prepare yourself, adventurer, for once you step outside your home and start your journey, there's no turning back. Now go, with God's speed, and heal this world before it's too late. Welcome to Elsewhere.
Welcome to Dungeon Tales, a audio-enhanced, live-played experience. Join us as we journey through the land of Elsewhere and beyond, meeting new friends along the way. I am your host, Kaiser Stardust, and if you're ready for an adventure, then join in to partake of a grand experience. Welcome to Dungeon Tales.
Hey! Welcome back, adventurer. It's been a while. So, you remember last episode when I told you we hired Warforges to help out? Well, let's just say that did not go as well as planned. Long story short, some of our data was corrupted for this episode. So, we are now back on track and are going to do an abridged episode. So sorry about that. Other than that, since it's been some time, let's get us caught up. Last time, the party went toe-to-toe with Dwayne the Rock Golem Johnson, a fearsome wrestler. And after a lot of antics, and me falling on my face a few times, the party was able to make it out victorious against all odds. With this, they progressed on to be the underdogs. And now, we're on our way to collect our reward. What could possibly go wrong? So now you're all caught up. So I suppose that's all for me. Alright, adventurer, feel free to sit back, kick your feet up, and enjoy the show. Bye for now.
As the party walks up the stairs, you enter into a, for the most part, square room. This room has not much features in it besides a door on the opposite side, and the walls are lit with blue arcane torches. And they cast this kind of weird, eerie blue light that kind of mixes in with the shadows in this room. And as you all look around, you see that you're not alone. Standing in front of you is a humanoid shrouded in shadows along the wall. And then, just as you notice this, behind you rush several figures. Before you have time to react, you see their hands glow with arcane energy. A spell has been cast, and all of a sudden, none of you can move. They then restrain you with rope, and then slam you to the ground. And from here, they bind you, and Tony, as you look around, you see that all of your comrades are frozen in place, You see these figures against the wall. This one woman steps forward wearing a cowboy hat, and she tips it up slightly and looks in your direction. What are you doing in this situation? You see that no one else is, none of your other companions are moving, and it seems like they're frozen in place unnaturally. You see that there are guards behind you that are restraining your compatriots. And, what do? One is walking up behind you.
I'm gonna quickly turn around and punch the guy in the face, and then run straight for the person that seems to be in charge of everyone, pulling out my trident.
All right, so here's what happens. As you turn around quickly to go and punch this goon in the face, as you whip around really fast, you notice that it is actually a female. You see that as you go to punch her, you see that she effortlessly grabs your arm and moves it out of the way and sidesteps you. And then you see her pull out a blade that comes out of her sleeve. And almost as quick and expertly as she did the sidestep, she runs this blade into your stomach. And then from there, she takes, as you double over, she takes her elbow and slams it down onto your head, knocking you to the ground.
As she stabs me before I get knocked down, I just respond with, "You fucking bitch."
All right, I love it. You are now out cold. Meanwhile, the rest of you, for a brief moment, you see Tony trying to fight against one of these guards before he is run through with a sword, shoved down to the ground, and stops moving. And then, you see this humanoid figure who's been standing along the wall step into the pale light. You see that she is wearing a cowboy hat that she tilts ever so slightly, revealing long ginger hair with bouncy curls. Well, well, well. Would you look what we have here? It looks like we meet again. I'm sorry to say I beat you here by a hop and a skip. But you see, once I heard about this here lamp granting 3 little wishes, I just knew I had to find a way to beat this game. With a little help from this gargoyle named Jim, I found some easy ways here. But this is not about little old me. This is more so about this lamp. And with that, she takes the obsidian lamp and caresses the jagged surface with her fingertips. With a poof of red smoke, a cloud pours out. Now you can see floating before you is a muscled, burgundy-skinned genie, wearing a skin-tight vest, their bare chest and torso bulging with muscle. The lower half of their body is a mixture of obsidian smoke and licks of red tongues of fire. The jet-black silk vest swirling with designs and patterns of gold, a turban around his head like a crown with a ruby-red gem adorning the middle of his forehead. He turns his gaze upon you. His pupils dance with a raging inferno before turning his back on you and looking back at the woman. He opens his mouth and says, "You have summoned me. What 3 things do you desire most? Speak now, or forever hold your silence." As she looks back at the party, who is still restrained, she notices something is odd. Wait, where's the big dragon one? And as she looks around, you see a big dragon hand reaching for the lamp from behind them.
Yoink.
Just before Sans is able to grab the lamp, a massive arcane hand shoots from the shadows and restrains his wrist. A new figure approaches. A man with a hood over his face. You can see he has plain, simple features minus tufts of red and black hair poking out from underneath his hood. He is holding a staff with a red crystal at the end that has cast this spell.
Allow me to take care of this, sister. Please, continue.
With that, he escorts Sans back to the group.
Thank you, Calazar. As I was saying, for my first wish, Genie, I want the barrier between Shadowfell and the material plane to be removed so that Beatrix can take her rightful throne in New Shadowfell.
And with this, you see a small smile creep across the genie's face, and he says,
Very well. It has been done.
And for my second wish, I want the magic to go back to the way it was during the grand age of sorcery, when the magic pools were not separated, before the bastardization of magic by the wizards, the age of the Magi.
With this, the genie looks at her and strokes his long, pointy beard and says,
Before I grant this wish, may I make a recommendation? For you see, it will not take them long for this wish to be undone. Instead, may I recommend a never-ending wish that will give you what you want, that can never be circumvented.
With this, the genie looks at the party and puts a finger with a long black nail up to his lips. And then you hear him whisper an incantation, and then all sound has been extinguished from the room. Not even a pin drop. Then he leans in and whispers in her ear. And then you see them whisper back. And then the strange silence is gone. And then you see the genie stand up, correct himself as much as he can for being trapped to a lamp. And you see the genie's mouth curls into a sneer, and he says,
Your wish has been granted.
After this wish has been complete, we focus back on our adventurers. And strangely enough, you can see that Sans is again nowhere to be found. Then almost out of nowhere, he's just standing there, right next to the genie, throwing popcorn at his face.
What? How did you get here?
She demands, looking at Sans. Do you say anything in response, Sans?
Sans is throwing popcorn at his face, and he says, Look, I already know what's going on here.
What do you mean?
So,
You already know what's going on here.
no, nothing. Hey, can I recommend a third wish?
A third wish? What? No. These are my wishes. This is not how this works. I'm not gonna have you steal my wishes from me.
Go on. Share. It's really good.
And as you say this, you see the man addressed as Calazar step forward again, and you see him look at this sorceress and say,
Perhaps it's best if we have a better way of subduing him. Obviously, this is going to become an issue.
Agreed, brother. I'll take care of it. Besides, this is a great way to test out to see if this new magic has worked.
She says this as she takes both of her hands and smashes them down into the ground. And all of a sudden, a rune shows up on the ground, and smoke starts filling the room around it. Then, the smoke starts to wave back and forth, almost like a desert mirage, before solidifying. Now you see the outline of a huge snake, surrounded by smoke and small streaks of red fire, its eyes lit ablaze with hellfire. It hisses and opens its mouth with boiling hot coals and magma, and lunges towards the party, which is still bound. As this is happening, you see the sorcerer open up a portal, and her brother, with the lamp in tow, go through. And then you see some of the henchmen start to follow suit. And with this, you see Cacta raises a hand to cast a spell at this snake. Sans, do you do anything here?
Not this time. And this is where Sam tackles the snake.
And with that, you tackle this snake, sending it backwards and hissing stands as this dragon and this giant red flaming snake almost just go completely out of everyone's vision. It's almost as if the both of you disappear from existence.
And the last thing you hear is Sans say, "Exit, stage left."
As this is happening, you watch as Nightfall walks through the portal as well. As the party looks wide-eyed at him, he does not say one word. But before he walks through, you see a small pouch come loose off of his belt and falls down to the cobblestone ground before rolling a couple of feet and then coming to a stop. And as the darkness clears in this small little area, you see that this pouch is now empty as a small runestone rock has come out of it and is now laying on the floor. There's one other figure in this room as well. You see this character come into frame, and you can now see that this female catfolk is none other than Flo, Cactus' sister. And you see her take a handkerchief and really quickly wipe blood off of her blade before sheathing it. And then she looks over at her brother as she approaches the portal before quickly walking back over to him.
So Smokey.
So you are tied, but you're basically bound. But as you kind of see some movement out of your peripheral, you do look over. You see the familiar figure of your sister. She walks past you, and you see her sheath her blade. But other than that, you don't really see why she had her blade out. She walks past you. And then she goes to the portal. And then she stops. And then she turns her back to the portal, and she looks back at the rest of the group who is still bound, and her eyes meet with yours. And then you see her pause for a moment, and then she holds up her hands. And you see her motion with a few flicks of her fingers and a swirl of her hands, a very familiar signage of Thieves' Cant to you. And it translates to, "Brother, forgive. I'll explain soon. I love you. Watch over friends. Take care yourself." And then with that, she reaches quickly into a bag and pulls out an object, and she tosses it your way. Now, you are still bound, but I could say that it is possible to kind of change your positioning to where you can kind of catch this. You're a cat folk after all. You could probably catch this with your feet if you change positions. Go ahead and just roll a d20 for me. I just want to see if you're able to catch this.
Oh. And
if not, it's just gonna.
That's a 7.
Okay.
I'm gonna take it. I'm not rolling very well today.
You try to kind of shift your position, but it clanks down onto the ground. The item is not damaged in any way, but it does.
It shatters into a million pieces.
Yeah. Well, shit. There goes a whole plot point. But no. So it clankers to the ground, but slides forward to you and across the cobblestone, and you can see that this item that she has tossed to you is a copper chain that is anchored to a small white branch with a blue bird sitting atop of it. You can see that this is a necklace, and then when you look back over to your sister, you can see that she has a matching one as well. But that is the last thing that you're able to see before she walks backwards, her eyes still interlocked with yours, and to the unknown destination of the portal, and disappears from view. And you are alone in this room, besides for the small creature that was teleported into this room, a small little rabbit-looking humanoid who is hiding behind a crate and looking at your party cautiously before slowly scampering out and walking over to Tony, who is still bleeding out on the ground. And from here, we're going to take a break from the narrative to introduce our new traveler. Welcome, traveler. Let's introduce your character.
My name is Coda. Been playing since I was, 9 or 10, so almost 22 years. Yeah, 22 years.
Wonderful. Now let's go ahead and describe a little bit about your character, please.
So he's 4 feet tall, and that is to the top of his head. His ears stand another about 7 inches high above him. Very rabbit-like, and he has small little tiny wings on the back of his back, and a very, very long, thin tail with a orb on the tip of it. Currently, because it is sunny, his fur pattern is very yellow and bright, and there is an emblem of a sun on his chest and his face.
Okay. There is something that I want to add in here to your description. You are going to have on your back a backpack. It's a small backpack, and it is carrying a oval-shaped item, but it also has some of your gear and stuff as well.
Right. So I would still be wearing my leaf armor and the scarf.
Oh yeah.
And the shield would be, over the backpack, where it's easy to grab.
Does Vishi's weather changing effects? This, of course, is just out of context stuff. But does his effects work the same indoors as it does outdoors?
It does. It works as a kind of a weather detector for what's going on outside.
Wonderful. So now let's go ahead and describe, once you're in this room and you see everything going on, what do you do?
Obviously, first thought is hide, and so Vichy would go invisible, and he runs over to a corner where he is attempting to hide.
Wonderful. It is around this time that you look around this room and you see that there is a man that is laying on the ground and surrounded by a lot of blood, or what from your limited knowledge can gather is blood.
Correct. And so, of course, first thing that Vichy would do, of course, invisible, scream really loudly, because he's no longer in his area where he was at previously and is now inside of a foreign area. Assessing the situation, runs over to this individual, not really noticing them at first and just watching what's going on. And then his nose sniffs, smelling the blood, turns and says, you're injured. Oh, I can fix that. And would cast a healing spell on him. Cure Light Wounds?
All right, amazing. So you get to work doing that. And with that, we're going to go ahead and switch over to Tony's perspective. You have just been run through with this sword. You see a small little... you see it like what looks to be maybe like a rabbit, judging from their ears, but you can also see that they have like a very long tail with this orb on it, and you see that they kind of walk over to you and they start pressing their hands against your stomach, and you do see this almost kind of glow from their hands. Is there anything that you say to this strange creature in this moment as they're doing this action?
Thanks for the helping hand. I really don't know who you are, but man, I came at the right time, I guess. After this, I really need to figure out who you are, though.
All right. I think that they just, in this situation, they just nod at you and continue doing what they're doing. You notice that the wound is closing, but you see that they take their hands away for a moment and give this wound kind of a perplexed look.
When he backs up, looking at the wound, Tony would be like, "Is there something wrong there, bud?"
And you can see that while the wound is closing, it does also kind of look like something else is happening there, like some sort of other thing is happening to that wound, but you're not quite sure yet Yeah, he does not say anything in response, but he just goes back to trying to apply this healing magic to you. And once he is finished, he steps away, and you can see that the wound is now closed, but it does seem like the skin is almost kind of discolored there. There is this weird, dark, purple blotch around this wound. And you notice that where your shirt is torn and you can see the skin of your stomach, you notice it's almost kind of like this fuzzy kind of situation, just this kind of like purple fuzz that seems to be kind of spreading slowly around this area.
So now we are going to transition over to the battle between Sans and the Ash Snake.
Blackness, then bright, colorful skies with pastel blues, pinks, and oranges. The meadows and rolling hills are perfectly trimmed as the massive butterflies fly overhead and land on the tree-sized buttercup flowers. And you see small windows lining their trunks, and even smaller little humanoids inside them. You hear a small voice say,
We are gathered here today to unite Oliver Star Pebbles and June Frosty Fields together as husband and wife. If anyone has an objection to this union, you may speak now or forever hold your peace.
and with that, you see a small green-dressed fairy with blonde hair stand up and say,
Yes, I object. And as you and June should know, you will never be as happy as you are with me, Oliver.
and with that, you see this gentleman who is dressed in a very nice suit and tie, but still, you can see that they are a pixie folk. He looks back over, taken aback. He says,
How did you even get invited? We broke up 2 years ago. Security, can we please escort this woman from the premises?
and with that, you see some more burly and more stoutly built pixies come forward and grab this woman and drag her off and away from this ceremony. And then the pastor straightens his bow tie and clears his throat.
And I suppose if there is no more objections, then we shall...
I object. I object. June.
And with that, you see all of a sudden another pink-haired man running up with a pant.
June, you have to return to me. Don't you understand? My life is a mess, but with your help I can bring it together.
And he just starts rambling and ranting. He's just tears stream down his face.
June, you have to come back.
Oh my gosh. I literally broke up with you 4 years ago. How did you get into this wedding? How did you even find this location? Security, can we get, somebody to take care of this?
And again, you see security come into the room and take this man away. With this, you see the pastor sigh, flip through a couple of different leaves of paper to try to find his place, and then he says,
Okay, well, it seems like there's a lot of objections from people who are not part of the actual wedding. So if there is anyone who is actually part of the wedding has any objections, I shall proceed with the union.
and just then, you see a huge dragon foot slam down next to a set of empty chairs and slowly push one of them that was originally seating the green-dressed woman who was escorted out from security back into a uniform line with the rest of the chairs. And at this point, you hear screams from everywhere. And now you see that people are running to and fro. And now the pastor is shouting the lines for the vows.
Oliver Star Pebbles, do you take June Frosty Fields to be your wife? Do you promise to be faithful to her in good times and in bad, in sickness and health, and to honor her for all days of your life.
I do.
And do you, June Frostyfield, also accept? I'm not going to repeat the line because I'm literally screaming.
I do.
All right, wonderful. You've been out killed each other. We should probably get out of here because I don't know what in the world is happening.
And with that, they rush off. Exit scene right. And now we are focused more on the battle that is taking place in the sky of this small pixie world.
Yes, meanwhile, Sans is shoving at the snake and grappling at it and giving it like a headlock.
All right, and with that, you now, the snake then grabs your arm with part of its tail and then does like a reversal on you and slams you into a what looks to be just like a field of flowers. But you do hear some small little from somewhere down below.
So meanwhile, this gigantic form is falling. The people are running, screaming, pointing up to the sky. People are leaving their houses, grabbing their children from carriages, crying and screaming everywhere. As they come down, hitting the tops of the buildings start crumbling, debris is falling, people are panicking, screaming, running.
Yes, all of this does happen. And then amidst all of the destruction, you see the ash snake reel up its head as it now has you on the ground beneath it, and you see it breathe forth this dark obsidian black smoke. And you see that it blankets this field as its hot breath is almost blinding to you, Sans.
This fire, Sans, feels almost like a hellfire. It is so hot and so intense, it's almost like you've been blanketed in the sun. You take 15 points of fire damage.
What do you do in response?
So back up, only to realize that he has crushed the pizzeria.
You slam your hand down, and then you see that now there is on your fist a bunch of marinara sauce. And you can see that there's now as you look down, you see that there's now a warehouse that says marinara on it. And now you're just covered in pizza sauce.
And slaps the snake across the face, leaving a red smear on his face.
Okay, gotcha. The snake kind of veers back from the marinara sauce getting a little bit into its eyes. You hear a hiss before
It leaps forward and tries to dig its fangs into your neck.
Sans jumps back out of the way, only to get nipped, which causes him to sprawl backwards in that kind of like Godzilla stagger, and he leans into a mountain.
As you are leaning against this mountain, we are going to switch perspectives. Down below, you see that a hiker is finally reaching the top of the mountain, and they're taking a break on a log, and says,
"Woo, howdy! That was a big walk. You know, I'm so glad that I decided to take a bit of a hike today. That was some good cardio. Time to sit down, take a break, and do have a nice sandwich in my bag.
Butterscotch flavored sandwiches."
and with that, you see this little gentleman sit down and open up a little knapsack.
As he goes to reach for his sandwich, he looks around.
What in tarnation is that sound? Oh gosh, it's getting louder.
It's that shadow. As a giant shadow starts overcasting his previously sunny area.
Boy, howdy. What in the world is that? Like some sort of gold thing coming down out of the sky. Oh no, it's heading right for the mountain. Oh no!
And you see him start to run backwards as this gold arm, or should I say gold elbow, just comes and basically just completely bisects this mountain, and you see the tip of the mountain fly off as this man is running away from the rubble back down the mountain the way he came. What are you doing as you are battling this snake? The snake is now basically charging at you, and you see it try to grapple.
Sans and the snake are battling in a shopping district, except for they're really small, and they're surrounded by giants.
So yeah, and you just see these giants towering over this very small sands and this ash snake. And you see one of them pulls out a magnifying glass out of a relatively large satchel placed over this one's back, and they hunch down and hear him say, "Hey, Bill, you see this tiny worm and what looks to be a even tinier dragon?"
Well, I think I do see this there. Dragon and what looks to be maybe a worm of some kind. What a strange sight. These tiny creatures are so interesting.
Yeah, well, anyways, let's go and get those beers we were going to get from Giant Mart.
Yeah, I want to get back and watch the fantasy game. Let's get going.
And with that, they stand up and walk into Giant Mart.
So Sans grabs the ash snake, and they fight through the air as they whiz around these two individuals. At one point, actually passing through the beard of one of the men, getting tangled up in it for a good minute or so, as they're both trying to kick at each other. You know, the snake's tail is slapping at Sans. Sans is kicking at it, slapping it with his own tail. Finally, they get free from the beard, only to fall into a Tankard of ale.
Well, I do say, I think you got something in your drink there.
Oh, ew. Yeah, it's that worm dragon thing. And you see him take a big spoon and scoop both of you up before flinging you across the room. And
We landed someone too. What? I do say, barmaid! There's a dragon in my soup.
I don't think that we serve dragon soup. Let me here take a look at that.
And with that, she takes a look at the bowl and she says,
Oh, by the God, there actually is a dragon in your soup.
and with that, she takes the bowl and then she takes it back to the back of the bar and dumps it into the trash. And as you guys are falling towards the trash can, all of a sudden, you're now back in the room. And with that, the Sans, you land on top of this snake, crushing it to the ground.
Drunk as shit. Snake's drunk. We're just kind of do that, like, drunk fight, where we're just kind of like arms noodly, tail noodly. We're just slapping at each other, just harmlessly.
And with that, you see Tony, who has been stabilized from his injuries, stand up off the ground, pull his trident off of his back, walk motionlessly over to where Sans and this ash snake are battling each other on the ground. He lifts it up and he stabs it through the head of this snake. And with that, the rest of the party, Sans, I don't know if you're joining in this situation, make their way out of this room.
And as Sans does, he looks down. Between his toes, he sees this weird little pouch. What is that? And Tony reaches down there first and snatches out from maybe, and they just kind of walk along.
All right, perfect. That was a this audiobook has been brought to you by Audible. Like, really though.
Hey y'all, Kel here, with a quick ad break to tell you about Anchor. What is Anchor, you may ask? Well, it's only the easiest way to make and upload your own podcast. Let me explain why. Well, for starters, it is free. That's right, Free, free. And with all of us sheltered in and hunkered down, now is the best time to make a podcast. They also have built-in creation tools that let you record and edit the audio straight from your computer or even your phone. You don't even need to download anything. Plus, Anchor will distribute your podcast to places like Spotify, Apple Podcast, and many more places where podcasts are listened to, letting you focus on your creating. But the best part of this whole thing is that you can make money from your podcast with sponsorships through Anchor that require no minimum listenership. It is huge for everyone just starting out. It is everything you need to make a successful podcast in one central location. Now, if you're ready to take your big idea and share it with the world, then go over to anchor.fm, download the app, or simply click the link in the description to get started today. Well, that's all for me. Happy sailing.
Hey guys, Kaiser here. If you're anything like me, you enjoy a good book every now and then. But with today's demanding work-to-life balance, it's really hard to be able to find the peace and quiet to be able to sit down and read, much less focus. That's why I enjoy using Audible. With thousands of books to choose from, all I have to do is pop in my headphones or play it while I'm on my daily commute to be transported to a faraway land. As someone who enjoys a good kaiju battle, I'm currently getting caught up with the movie novelization of Godzilla, King of the Monsters, last summer's blockbuster, of course, by Greg Keyes. So, if you're ready to find your next favorite audiobook, use our promo code audibletrial.com/Dungeon Tales to get 1 month free and a free audiobook on us. How can you beat that deal? That's again, audibletrial.com/Dungeon Tales. DUNGEONTAILS. Not the other type of tales. Alright, guys. Thanks so much for your continued support. And without further ado, back to the show. Now that the smoke has cleared, you do see that this that all of this disturbance to this room has caused a bookcase to fall over that was along the far side of the wall. And you now see that there is a small, medium-sized tunnel that seems to kind of be leading somewhere outside of this room.
What books are on the bookshelf?
That's a great question. Roll a perception check.
8.
I mean, nothing that really kind of strikes your interest. I mean, there's like, cookbooks and different, how-tos and things of that nature. However, there is one book that is labeled The Destruction and Rebuilding of the World, told from the eyes of a bard. And that's all this title says.
I grab it.
Okay. As you guys leave this room, tired, weary, battle-scarred, Tony, you notice that this purple fuzz is spreading throughout your body, but it's something that you put on the back burner for right now. You figure it might just be needing a good night's sleep. As you go to reach for the door handle to leave this room, you see that the door knocker looks very strangely familiar. And as you kind of focus on it, you see it comes to life, and it is none other than the gargoyle, Jim. And he says, "Oh, hey guys, how's it going? Looks like, oh, wow, look at this room. Okay, cool, I haven't been to this exact section. All right, well, hey, looks like you have completed the challenge. Congratulations, everyone.
Yeah, we get the house now.
Oh, yes.
Right.
Yes, exactly. You do get the house, and what I'm going to have is one of my metal golems meet with you a little bit later, probably tomorrow. Yep, tomorrow. So, tomorrow a metal golem will meet with you, and they will have you sign the contract. Unfortunately, I personally can't be here because I'm stuck to this door and the walls. On the other side of this door, you should be able to find a wonderful bedroom that will be able to accommodate all of your needs. If there is anything else that you need, either the metal construct tomorrow, or if you want to walk down the hallway, take a left, go up, down, and then sideways, you will find another version of me. You can't access me here, of course. But
why do you make this difficult? Aren't you another construct, why don't you just put your head on one of the things?
There is a long pause.
You know, in all my years at this house, I have never thought of that. Normally, I just send people back through the dungeon to reach me. It's somehow easier.
You just hear an audible facepalm from Tony. You are a house. You haven't thought about that.
I mean, it wasn't in the building permit, so it's hard to say. But now that you bring it to my attention, maybe I can have a upgrade done where I could get some legs and move around. I love this idea. Brilliant.
Would probably help us as well. Wait, now that I think about it, there'd be multiple of you probably walking around. Oh god.
Oh no,
What have I done?
we're all centralized to one unit, so it would just be the main how do you say hive mind? Yeah, it would be the main hive mind.
That doesn't make my thoughts any better, but
yeah, it'll just be the
sure.
hive mind. The hive. We're one. I don't know why I'm making this creepy.
No,
his head rolls around.
That's sort of what Tony was getting at. It's like, oh, this is creepy.
Okay. So with that, the door swings open.
You can finally pick your nose.
Oh my goodness, you're right. I'll have hands. Ooh.
And maybe you'll be able to push your own button in your mouth back at the entrance.
Oh, didn't think about that. I was actually thinking about being able to light all the torches. Do you know how many torches there are in this house? There's a lot. It's good to have hands. Anyways, guys.
Why have you not automated the torches to your magic either? Oh, you're such an inefficient house.
It's poorly efficient. You know, you guys being the new owners will be able to make some hopefully well-needed upgrades. By the way,
as he's saying all this, I'm starting to scratch my wound.
Yes, it is starting to itch. But as you go to scratch it, you do notice that there is now fur in that location. And as you look down, you see that now from where your shirt is torn, that entire area of your stomach is now coated in purple fur.
I'm going to hide it for right now.
Okay, you readjust your garments to hide this wound. With that, Jim continues and he says, all right, guys, well, I won't keep you any longer. I'm sure you're all tired and need to recharge for the day. Please enjoy your accommodations. And with that, the door swings open, and on the other side, you are now seeing a long hallway. And this hallway leads to a door that is also wide open, and you see that inside of this room, there is a long and expanding bedroom that includes a very big bed with a balcony window overlooking somewhere off, very distant, but it looks very almost coastal. And with that, your party starts making your way forward and into this room. And that's where we're going to end today's episode. Ahoy! Kaiser here! Thanks so much for listening to another episode of Dungeon Tales. We want to thank you so much for your continued patience on this episode. We understand it's been a few months since we have uploaded, and for that, we are sorry. We had to take a bit of a break due to a number of unforeseen issues, including some of us moving, along with, of course, needing a bit of a mental health break. But with all of this being said, we are back in the saddle and should be able to get back on track from here. This said, none of this would be possible without you, the fans, and our wonderful community. I want to take some time to thank some of our contributors and sponsors for today's episode. Starting off with, thanks so much to Brandon N., the Good Samaritan on Patreon. Thanks, Brandon, for your continued support. Tetro on YouTube for the Megalovania Bardcore song When Sans Goes Into the Shop. You can find their YouTube channel in the link in the description. Next up, we have to thank D. Young for the Undertale Megalovania remix. Intro music by Alexander N. is from Serpent Sound Studios. Links to all of these content creators can be found in the episode description. And lastly, thanks so much to Audible.com for today's sponsorship. And of course, thank you, the listener, for continuing to come back and listen to us. You mean the world to us. New episode coming soon. If you have not already checked out our Patreon, patreon.com/Dungeon Tales, where for just $5 a month, you can get additional episodes and unedited episodes of Dungeon Tales before they hit the main streaming platforms. That's all for me, guys. Until next time, fair winds and safe travels. Kai's out.